All right, thank y'all for joining us for EDDMapS Office Hours for May of 2023. I am Chuck Bargeron, Director of the Center for Invasive Species and Ecosystem Health, where EDDMapS is run. And with me today is Rebecca Wallace, who is the EDDMapS Coordinator, and will be chiming in and answering any questions that come through the chat or through the Q&A part of the website. So a month ago, we did the EDDMapS Summit for 2023, and those videos are all available through the EDDMapS training website. What I'm going to do today is talk a little bit in more detail on some of the things that we talked about at the summit and kind of some of the directions that we're going with really looking at tools to help you know what is in your area. And so that's kind of the gist of today. I'm going to go through this presentation fairly quickly, and then we can have any questions and we can pull up the website and go into detail on anything if there's additional questions. So first of all, this is a question that we get asked a lot, and I just wanted to include it as part of today's presentation in terms of which app should you use if you're looking at a smartphone app. Should you use the EDDMapS app? Should you use the EDDMapS Pro app, or should you use the WildSpotter app? And really, it's kind of dependent on what you're trying to do. The EDDMapS app is kind of the standard app. It is for trained scientists, trained volunteers, folks that need a field guide, folks that want to, really just focus on reporting new occurrences of species. And so, trying to make it fairly simple, but, it takes a little bit of knowledge to use it. EDDMapS Pro is then our more advanced app. If you're really trying to manage an area or manage existing data and update existing data in EDDMapS, then EDDMapS Pro is probably the right app for you. And then WildSpotter is our newest app, and it is really, EDDMapS Lite. It's really a casual observation app focused on specific areas, wild places as they're called within the app. That app has been updated recently where you can actually in it create your own wild place. And so just a little enhancement to make things a little easier for the users. All right, so the first thing that has been around EDDMapS for a long time is the alert system. And so, if you want an update via email on what's been reported in an area that you work or live in, then the best thing you can do is go on to the EDDMapS website, go to My EDDMapS, and then go to alerts. And you can set that alert at the country level, at the state level, at the county level. You can say, I want to know all plants that are found in this area of interest, all wildlife, all insects. Or you can break it down and say, okay, I just want to know what grasses are reported in this area, or when Kogon grass is reported in this area. So those options are right there. It's a simple form. You fill out, you save it, and then you can view which alerts you've signed up for. And so you can create multiple ones if you want to know every plant reported in Georgia and Florida. Then it's very easy to make that happen through the alerts. And those are sent, I think they're sent every 4 hours now, based on what what's reported in the area that you have alerts set for. So there may be days that you don't get alerts because nothing new was reported and verified in the area that you have alerts set up for. So great tool. We send a lot of these emails out, and it's just an easy way to get alerted when something is new. We've had for a long time through EDDMapS the different county maps. We've recently added some of these expansion maps in terms of where things may be found in the future. And if you missed the EDDMapS Summit, there's a great presentation there that goes through what each of these maps are and how they can be used and how to interpret the information that is in them. So if you're interested in these future range, future certainty, and future abundance habitat maps, then I would suggest going back and reviewing that video from the EDDMapS Summit last month. So over the last couple of years, we have added into on the record basis where it shows where that record is found. It shows what public lands, what existing geography that we have in EDDMapS that this record fell into. And so you've probably noticed when you're looking at records, you see these down here at the bottom showing, you know, different units of where the record was found. You know, we've cleaned that up a little bit recently, so you don't see a lot of the duplicated information. And we've also made these now linked. And so, you know, in this case, this record found in this state park, you can click on that and you can see the state park and everything that has been reported in that state park. And so, you know, if you scroll down on the page, and I'll show that in another slide, then you would see all the species listed and the number of reports of that species that has been found in that area. You're also able to buffer this. This is what the drop down here is for. You can buffer this. So if you want to know what's found in this area, as well as within, you know, a 5-mile radius of the area you're interested in, then you can do that by changing the buffer distance as part of this page and being able to expand it to see what's around. We've not added yet, but it's something we're going to add in the future, a way where you can see species that have not yet been reported in that area, but have been reported in this, you know, but have been reported within a surrounding radius. So we think that'll be another useful tool to kind of see what species you should be on the lookout for if you're managing a piece of land or a property. So that's one of the one of the ways to look at the data on this map. I mentioned that if you scroll down on the page, then you get a list of what species and the number of records that are displayed above. So what this can be very useful for is being able to turn off the species. That's what this checkbox here is for. So, you know, if you're just really focused on Japanese climbing fern and you just want a map of the area with Japanese climbing fern, then you can hide the other species, just show Japanese climbing fern, and then get a very easy to use map. We're working and testing it right now, adding an option over here on this side of the map where you will be able to download that map. So it will save that map. It'll screenshot what you're seeing on the screen. You'll be able to save that map and take that map and integrate it into a PowerPoint presentation, into a report that you're doing, into something like that. So a very easy way to take what you're seeing on the screen and save that as a graphic. And we've tested this in even some very large areas with a lot of data. I think there's over 30,000 or 40,000 points in this congressional district in Minnesota. So this was a good example of where we could really see, make sure the performance was working well on this, and just what it looked like when you include a lot of points in a large area. And so there's that. You also can take this data and download it and that's what these options are right here, as a CSV, as an Excel file, as a PDF, or you can just directly print it. And that's just focusing on the data in that table. So you can take that table and print it and make it or make it as a downloadable Excel spreadsheet if you need to work on it in different ways. And this is something we're going to continue to update. One thing I want to do here is split the common name and the scientific name into separate columns. And if you have other suggestions of ways that we can improve this and what information is displayed, then we're always open to that. And so please reach out and let us know. We do not have a direct way at this point where somebody can request a group of boundaries being added to EDDMapS. That is something that we're also working on. And so if there are some public lands boundaries that you look and they don't exist or they're not showing up, we've had some of the boundaries that we've put into the system that the polygons, the database didn't like the polygons, and so they weren't showing up because of a database issue, but we've been able to resolve most of those. So, if your particular area that you're interested in does not show up, then please reach out to us. You can send us a shapefile of it and we'll add those to the queue to get added in. The other way you can look at this is if you go to the tools and training page, then you can click on species status report by other geographic location. And so what that does is takes you to a page where you can choose the country, you can choose the state or province, you can choose the county or the lower jurisdiction, and it will show you all of the areas that are found within that. And so, and occasionally you get duplicates just because of the way the data came in. Maybe that Rocky Mountain Forest Reserve in this case is split, into 3 different lands. And so instead of having a multi-polygon, there's 3 different ones there. So, I think there's some occasions where there's some weirdness in the data like that, but in general, it's pretty good. I was surprised when I actually looked at this for our, the county we're located in, how many options they had just of kind of city and county parks that were included in. And so, that was, I was surprising that we were able to, use the local park as one of the examples for this, because that shape was already in that public areas database that we got from the USGS that maintains that. And so just another way to look at this, here's Forward Park, just a local park in Tifton, the points that have been found there. And then this is looking at the buffer. So you see that outside area and what species have been found around the area. And so here are just some more examples of what that looks like with the different, seeing the species list, seeing them show up, being able to turn off. The difference in these 2 maps is turning off eradicated and negative data. So you're just looking at the positive and treated data. So you can do that directly on the page as well. And we already talked about the printing part of it. Here's just another example showing the different locations that can show up into the map. And in this case, in Florida, we've added the SISMA boundaries. So you can go on, you can select the SISMA boundary and then go and see everything that is found within that SISMA boundary. So just another way to really get a look and an overview of what's in an area that you work in. And I think this is something that is a really powerful addition to the EDDMapS system, and something that I think we're going to continue to find more and more ways to use. Those same geographic locations are available through the advanced query tools. So you can go to the advanced query tools and get to this data in a similar way. So you can go in, choose your different filters. And then once you choose your state and country and state, and then county or jurisdiction level, then it will give you those other ones in an auto suggest form. And so you can start typing those in, select those, and then it will, go to the advanced query page where it will give you all the results for what was found in that area. It does not show currently the boundary of that on the advanced query tool page, but what you can do is, if it is area that you're really interested in in having that information a lot. Once you kind of set your boundaries there, then you can save that query. And this is something that is another recent addition, the ability to save those queries. They have to be under about 20,000 records at this point. But if you're looking at a small data set, you can save that query by clicking on that button. And then if you go to the My EDDMapS page, again, then there's an option for My Saved Queries, and that gives you a list of the queries that you've saved. You also, can click on Create New Data Set, and that will take you to the page that we were just on, where you can, set up a new saved query. So that is another piece of this. These saved queries are also can come in from into EDDMapS Pro. So those saved queries, you can save those queries, and then when you open up EDDMapS Pro, you can download those data sets into EDDMapS Pro, just like you download county data sets into EDDMapS Pro. And so again, you can click on it here and run it again. So if you want to run, go back to that query, then this is a quick way to get back to that query. Another thing that I think when you're talking about data in a particular area, who is the verifier for that data? Who gets alerted when something new is found in that area? Maybe you needed to be on that list. Maybe you need to be on that list and you're not. And so we've added a way through the EDDMapS tools page again, where you can do a report verifier lookup. So you can go in, choose the species. I chose Argentine black and white tegus because that's an issue we're dealing with in Georgia now. And then I just dropped a point on the map in Georgia because I just wanted to see, okay, who all is going to get alerted? And, in this case, there's folks at Georgia DNR that are working on this. There's our partners with USGS NOS who get alerted on this. There's a researcher at Georgia Southern University who's working on TAGU, so he's included in these emails. And so very quickly you can get a list of the people that get the emails. It also gives you some other information like, has this ever been reported in Georgia before? Yes, it has. Has it been reported in Dooley County, where I ended up dropping that point? No, it hasn't. So a quick way to kind of look and see, an overview of the species in the area. It also shows what different projects in EDDMapS allow reporting of this species, and what invasive species list is it included on. So, a lot of information very quickly that will show up on this page just by typing in a species and dropping a point. Just some other kind of things I wanted to bring up because it's something we don't talk about enough. The My Species list, I think, is a great tool. This in EDDMapS that you can manage your list of species on the website, and then those sync both to the EDDMapS and the EDDMapS Pro smartphone apps. So you can go in, set up that information, and then make that information available through both of those applications. And just an example of what that looks like. Another part that's under My EDDMapS is the EDDMapS Pro tools. This is where you also can set up your My Counties. The My Counties are the counties where you have the data sets and the aerial road maps available within the EDDMapS app. Both the My Species list and the My Counties are something that you currently have to do on the website. In the EDDMapS app, you can go in and star species and add them to your species list. But in general, you have to set these up on the website. And as part of what we're doing in the next probably 6 months, we're going to incorporate those features into the EDDMapS Pro app. So you'll be able to basically open the EDDMapS Pro app, create your EDDMapS account, choose your species and choose your counties all from the app, and not having to, go to the website and get things set up beforehand. So just something we're working on just to make that a little bit easier. The last thing, and this, we gotten some confusion on this because we've talked a lot about projects recently and incorporating this concept of projects within EDDMapS, and that's for another office hours. I think there was one last year on that, but we've also in EDDMapS Pro added the concept of photo projects. And so these are a way for you to very easily save and manage and create new before and after pictures. So you can set these up on the website. You also can set them up in the app. And what I really like in this example with the ceiling fan, to me, sums it up is about as quick as you can, that you take the first picture, and then when you go to take the second picture, you can use that picture as like a semi-transparent background for the original picture. And so just to help you get lined up, so your icon, the things that are obvious in the photo all kind of line up. So when you take that initial photo and you take that second photo, then you have a good contrast between what it looked like and what it looks like now. You can keep taking these photos. You can add an unlimited amount of photos to this. They're all available for you in the EDDMapS app, but then you can also bulk download them from the EDDMapS website. So just another tool. These are not tied to EDDMapS records. They're not tied to projects. There's just kind of a thing built into EDDMapS Pro to allow you to really, just have another piece that is needed sometimes when you're working in different areas. Boundary areas, we've renamed this, I think, 3 times now. I think we're going to stick with the boundary. The boundary areas is or something similar to that is the final name. This was originally called My KMLs, and then we called it project areas, and then we had the confusion about projects. So the whole concept of this boundary areas is where you can take a KML file that you already have, or a shape file, convert it to a KML file that you already have. You can upload it to the web and then pull those in as layers into EDDMapS Pro. And so if you're out working on a piece of property, being able to see exactly where that piece of property's boundary are, and then where you only work on the points that are found within that. So it's just like an underlayer that is added up underneath the points in EDDMapS Pro. You can also draw a polygon on the website and add it that way as well. People have used these to import their county road maps into EDDMapS and have those as background layers, so they can really see where the roads are and not have to always use the offline maps to do that. There is a file size limitation on that, or it just slows things down with the way Google Maps handles that. But another neat tool. Just a reminder, if you are using EDDMapS Pro, it is important to make sure you refresh the data from the website and make sure you get everything synced before you go out in the field. We've also added help into EDDMapS on most all EDDMapS Pro on most all the pages, so you can click on that and get more information about things. So EDDMapS Pro really launched the ability to do revisits, but what if you did an aerial application, or you did a large application and you don't want to have to go in and select every single point within the area that you're treating? Well, that's where bulk revisits come in. So with bulk revisits, you can lasso a group of points and go in and select those points, and then lasso them, actually go in and check the ones you're interested in. And then once you do that, fill out the form and say, if you want to mark all of these as treated, then it makes it very easy to update the status of the records and make them treated. One of the final things that I wanted to mention is we have added a way to download a PowerPoint of the dashboard. So you can go into the EDDMapS dashboard, and if you're trying to get a report together for your county or your state, then you can download everything on this page, and they come in, the graphs come into PowerPoint, and you actually can edit those graphs, update them, and make them your own. And so the last thing is that we added to one of our apps, we added to our I've Got One app. And it's been requested now that we incorporate this into the EDDMapS app as well. So I wanted to mention it because it's going to be coming soon to the EDDMapS app, but it is the Explore option. And so what we built into the I've Got One app is a way that you can explore what's nearby you. And so you can do that from a map. You can do that from a list view where you can see, you know, what are the top species that have been reported near where I'm at, and then also the recent species that have been reported near where your current location is. So, you know, in the EDDMapS app, you don't really have a way to view all the data around you on the map, and so this feature will allow you to do that. We tested it first with the I've Got One app, and people have been happy with it and like the way that works. And so we are now going to incorporate that into the EDDMapS app as well. So with that, I'm going to stop the presentation part of this. I did see that we had one question in the Q&A about some mistakes in the polygons for some of the local areas. How would you go about getting that corrected? What we would probably need for that is better a shapefile for the areas that are wrong, so we could replace those in our database. This, you know, because we're talking about, you know, thousands and thousands of areas, we were able to download from USGS this protected area database is what it's called, and so you can look that up online, but it's USGS protected area database, and so that's where those layers came from. Those layers have all different sources from where USGS got them from. So it does not, you know, when you're talking about that much data, it doesn't surprise me that there could be some mistakes in those. But if you can send us an updated shape, then and which ones it are, then that's something that we can fix in the database, and something that, you know, if we continue to see that as an issue, then we can, you know, work on a way for users to flag ones that are problematic, and then figure out a way to fix those that have some mistakes. Duplicates are what bothers me more than the mistakes, because the mistakes are usually probably minor. They may not be in this case, Yaching, but that's something that we can definitely look into. So saved query, if your saved query is under 10,000 points, if it goes over where it still downloads in Pro. Greta, I think that number is 20,000. I think to be able to save a query, it has to be under 20,000 points. If there's a specific case where we set that number as an arbitrary number, just because we didn't want people creating data sets that were 100,000 points, because they're just not the performance is not going to be that good in EDDMapS Pro with that many points in one layer that comes on. But we also could expand that over 20,000 points if it really becomes a problem for somebody, because I know some of the counties have more than 20,000 points, but we were just trying to, if you're focused on an area or you're focused on a few species, try to narrow that down and create multiple saved queries with different options, just to give you the ability to better, you know, manage the data and not end up with these huge data sets. Other questions or comments? I know this was very similar material to what we presented at the summit. I just really wanted to go more in depth. I felt like, you get a whole bunch of information in 4 hours on the EDDMapS Summit, and this being able to look at things at the location level, I think, is a very key feature and something that's been missing from EDDMapS, and I'm glad that's available and to be tested and used now. So, do we have any other questions, comments? It doesn't have to be about this. It could be about anything with EDDMapS in general. We've got a decent, a smaller group today, so we can kind of spend as much time. So I got an email about another program that I don't think I'm aware of, Chuck, but I will dive into this after today's meeting and follow up with you on that and see if it's something that that we can learn more about, and maybe it's something that we can use and incorporate into EDDMapS. So yeah, thanks for letting us know about that. Other comments. So Greta said, love being able to save queries and load KML files. Another feature I love is to add user boundaries and photo projects. Yeah, those are just some little details that I think, I was making sure there wasn't a question there, but those are just some little details that I think just are trying to make folks' lives more easier. And so, that's what we're trying to do with these tools, is we're trying to take the folks that are in the field, work with them, and really try to solve problems that they have and make it as easy as possible for that to happen. So Chuck asked about changing prioritization on my list. On the website, you can drag and drop the species and order them just by clicking on them and dragging them. Then, most any browser should allow you to do that, and you can adjust the order that they show up on. And this was, you also can pull in. We have some state lists already there that you can pull in and show those, add those automatically to your list. If your state list is not there, then just send us a ping. We'll make sure we've got the most current list, and then we can easily add that to the drop down of existing lists that can be added. Anything else y'all have on your mind today? Well, good deal. I know school's wrapping up in some parts of the country, and it's getting to be summertime, so we're going to keep doing these through the summer, but we will we're also make all of them available through the on the EDDMapS training page as part of this, and on YouTube, through YouTube for these recordings. And so thank y'all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you all next month. I think it's June 16th maybe is the day, and that information is up on the training page of what we're gonna talk about then. So thank you very much. Our email addresses are here. If you have any questions for me or Rebecca, please feel free to follow up, and hope you have a good weekend.